Yo, what's up, guys? It's Ben10clem here, back with the Ben10clem poll, top 25, week 4. Um, a lot has changed. A lot. As you can see by the infographic, a lot has changed. So, yeah, we're gonna get started. As you can see, we got teams that have dropped out of the top 25, and it's a lot of teams. Based off performance and also just their overall record, it's not great. Notre Dame 0-2. They lost at home to Texas A&M by 1. They're 0-2. I can't keep them in the top 25. So I mean, realistically, I probably could and put them at 25 exactly, but there's other teams that are like 3-0, 2-0, 2-1, like that are better, and I think they just aren't. So being 0-2, they're out of the top 25. Next up that dropped out of the top 25 is Clemson. To much as my dismay, they're dropped out. Um, they lost at Georgia Tech today by a field goal, like last second field goal by Georgia Tech, 55 yarder. 24-21. Clemson is not the same as they once were. Cade Klubnik looks like he reverted back to a freshman. Like somehow you digress or regress from doing very good last year to being very mid this year. Literally, I would put Arch Manning and Cade Klubnik in the same boat. They both look very mid. So yeah, Haynes King just had his day with us. Passed better, ran better, just all over. It was just they were a better team. They were a better team. I mean, if we didn't also miss a field goal, we could have possibly went into overtime. But in overtime, we would have lost anyways. If I'm gonna be completely honest, we would have lost anyways. Okay, and then SMU, I dropped out because SMU just hasn't been having stellar performances. In my opinion, I just don't like what they've been doing per se. Um, there's a couple teams that I should mention that I want to put in that realistically I probably should have put in was Indiana. Indiana did have a very impressive win against Indiana State, but that is an FCS school. They are ranked in the AP poll 22 right now. They will be ranked next week. Don't worry. As long as they don't lose. I'm not sure if they play anyone exactly next week. They play Illinois, so that will be a good test. Indiana versus Illinois, that will be a very good test for them. I'm not like 100% sure that because they had a really close game against Old Dominion, but then blew out Kennesaw State, which makes sense, and then blew out Indiana State, which makes sense. But Illinois is a sleeper team, and if they can take care of Illinois, I'd put them in. So, um, next up, I want to talk about SMU. Obviously, SMU. If I look for them real quick, let me try and find them. SMU against Missouri State, a team that literally just came into the FBS program, like up to the FBS level. Um, they played them at their stadium, and it was 28-10. Not impressive against a team that literally just moved up to the FBS level. I mean, yeah, it's not a good look. So SMU, I'm dropping out. They were 23 last week, by the way. And I'm gonna say Notre Dame was 8 or 9. But they're 0-2, and they just proved me wrong, and I dropped them out because no 0-2 team can stay in the top 25. It just isn't a thing. Um, and I still can't see them above these teams right now. For how it is. Clemson was 15. They are completely out now. I'd also put them probably in the 30 range right now. Notre Dame also in the 30, like probably like 25 or 26 to 35 range, and anywhere around there for those two teams, and SMU and Florida. SMU, obviously, I said they went from 23 to now being dropped out of the top 25. And then you have Florida here. Florida actually did put up a very good performance against, well, not very good, I'd say, but a decent performance against LSU at LSU, keep in mind. DJ Lagway threw 5 picks, which is awful. He did have more passing yards. He did pass the ball more, but he just threw the ball to the other opponent 5 times, which is bad. Like, very, very, very bad. So they're dropped out. I mean, I still had them ranked, but they people didn't previously, so keep that in mind. Other than that, that's the teams that dropped out of the top 25. Now we're gonna go to listing off our actual rankings here. Number one, new number one. Penn State for me is the number one team in the nation. I think they overall are the most consistent and have the most talent. And haven't seen them really stumble or fall, etc. Like, they have been consistent throughout everything so far. They played Villanova today, 52-6. Yes, it's Villanova. Yes, it's an easy team, but still, 52-6. Like, you took care of business. Their first game was Nevada, and then FIU 34-0. Like, their next game is Oregon, and it is a home game for the Nittany Lions. To be honest, the number 2 and number 3 QB for me is battling it out. I have Drew Aller at third best QB, or like third in the Ben10clem award, player of the year. And then I have Dante Moore at 2. I really do think like that game's gonna be insane. I literally couldn't tell you who I think's gonna win that game, because I haven't really. Oh, keep yawning. Sorry, guys. I haven't really seen enough out of Oregon yet to necessarily say I think they'll win, because they played Montana State, Oklahoma State, and then Northwestern today, 34-14. Like, you would think it'd be way more. Penn State does get a bye. Why Oregon's plays Oregon State. So, I mean, the Oregon Ducks still have a pretty rough challenge, I think. And they don't really get a rest before that. So we'll have to see how things go. But, yeah. Penn State 1. Ohio State 2. I dropped Ohio State because at Ohio State, it was 37-9 against Ohio. I don't like that. I don't like that it was close for a. I mean, it was 13-3 at half, and then it went from like 23 to 9, and then they scored 14. It's just allowing them to like get points in general. It's Ohio. Like, I would expect more offensive points, but there was not more offensive points from Ohio State, so I dropped them down. I wasn't. Ooh, dang, I cannot stop yawning. I am tired, guys. But I could not possibly give Ohio State 1 right now when I think Penn State has been more consistent with their games. So, yeah, we're going to go on into the number 3 spot. Number 3, LSU. LSU, I actually thought they would beat Florida by a bit more. and look a little better too, but they didn't per se. Yes, they won 20-10, but there's just they're the third best team easily in the country without it. Well, yeah, I'd say third best team pretty easily in the country right now without a doubt. They have some great wins under their belt. So 3 is I think where they belong. Number 4 in moving up 3 spots is Georgia. Georgia after beating Tennessee in overtime. Realistically, Georgia should have lost that game. Absolutely should have lost that game. Tennessee's kicker missed, and that screwed them up. Like that would have won them the game. There was no time left. Tennessee, all they needed to do was make that kick. They would have won. But they didn't do that, and they only scored 3 in OT, and then literally in 3 plays, Georgia scores TD. So it wasn't. I mean, it was a good game. Very offensive game until like the third, like later in the third. That's when the defenses kind of stepped up. Really, it was just an offensive shootout, which is wild. But for both of those to just score that much points on each other, it was an offensive shootout. And then we're gonna go ahead and talk about number 5, Miami moving up 1 spot. They played USF. It was home. It was a home game for Miami. They blew them out, 49-12. My prediction was wrong. I thought there would be another upset in South Florida's belt, but they did not pull it out, and they did not win it. I mean, I guess that could show you how good Miami is and maybe just how weak the Florida Gators are, per se. It's wild to see. South Florida, Miami, Florida State, Florida Gators, like all these Florida teams popping out and doing good. So it's wild. Anyways, next up, we're going to go and talk about number 6, Oregon. I'm dropping them 2 spots. Keep in mind, only 2, not a lot. It's not like the end of the world for you guys, Oregon fans. They dropped 2 spots for me. They played at Northwestern, and it was a 34-14 game. Northwestern is not a good team. They do not have a big stadium. It would have been a blowout. It still was a blowout, but it should have been probably like 40-something to 14, if anything, 40-something to 7, realistically. But that did not happen. So, yeah, that's where we're going to go for that. Texas, another disappointing, very disappointing for performance. This was at Texas, by the way, and they were playing UTEP. UTEP is awful. And it was 27-10. Like, I don't get how, like, it's similar to Clemson, but they're still pulling out wins unlike Clemson. Like, the 2 best rosters on paper at the start of the year was Clemson and Texas. They lost the least amount of players, had on paper 2 of the best rosters, and then just not showing the performance of what those rosters should be doing. So I dropped them more. I mean, expect them to possibly drop more in the future unless they win a really big game. Because I'm not. Texas plays Sam Houston next, so nobody, and then at Florida, then versus Oklahoma, at Kentucky. They'll end up playing Georgia, Texas A&M, and at Florida and Oklahoma, which will be good games, I think. Their only real test was Ohio State. It was 14-7. And then Arch Manning just did not look great. Arch Manning, I don't think, is good. He's a very mid QB. Sorry, guys. Um, Up next we have Georgia Tech. A lot of you probably will not agree with me here. I mean, the people clearly hasn't agreed with me at all. I obviously don't agree with them. They didn't have Georgia Tech ranked. Realistically, I thought the Clemson v Georgia Tech game should have been a ranked matchup, a very high ranked matchup, but they just refused to put Georgia Tech in. Georgia Tech will most definitely be in the AP Bowl. Keep a lookout for that. They're first in the ACC. They're 3-0. They are doing great. I mean, Haynes King, I would have him up for Heisman. He looks great. I mean, as long as he can stay healthy. I mean, he seemed to be a little hurting after probably in the third quarter of the Clemson game. Um, so I mean, other than that, their schedule is pretty easy. The only hard games is like Clemson and Georgia. Possibly Syracuse could maybe, but realistically, they got one of their hardest games out of the way, and then they got another one at the end of the year up against Georgia, which, to be honest, I could see a Georgia Tech team beating Georgia. I can. Anyways, enough about Georgia Tech. Y'all know how much I think they should have already been ranked in the AP, and I mean they need to prove it anymore, guys. Do they? They just beat Clemson, so they're eighth for me. I already had them at 11, literally in the top 15. I had them above Clemson already. Already in my poll last week. So Clemson obviously is now out after that loss because they're 1-2. Not good. Number 9, moving up 3 spots, is Illinois. Illinois is a very favored team. They're 9 right now in the AP poll, but that could change. The AP poll obviously isn't updated yet. So there's still some games being played, aka just the Hawaii game right now that is being played in Hawaii. So it's like I'll have to wait till Tuesday to see the AP poll come out, and then I'll do a video for y'all on what I think is gonna happen and comparing the two. I did say in my predictions, if I remember correctly, let me go back and look. I don't know if I took a screenshot of it. So my predictions were Clemson at Georgia Tech. I believe Georgia Tech would upset Clemson by 3, and I was right. Georgia at Tennessee. I thought Tennessee would win, which by 3 or 6. And that prediction would have been correct if they made the field goal, but they did not. So sadly got my prediction wrong. And then South Florida at Miami, I also got that prediction wrong. Arkansas at Ole Miss, I did get correct. I saw Ole Miss winning, but I could see a choke possibility from Ole Miss because they do choke a good bit. Florida at LSU, I expected LSU to win, and they did win. I got another one wrong. I thought Notre Dame would win convincingly, I said, and they did not win at all. It was 41-40. Vanderbilt at South Carolina, this I got wrong, but this was due to injuries. I thought South Carolina would have a dominant win, exceeding the spread. The spread was only 2.5 in favor to South Carolina, but they got blown out in Columbia. A night game, keep in mind, by Vandy, 31-7. You got to keep in mind, though, the number one wide receiver, which is literally the second best player for South Carolina, injured and out. Then Lenore Sellers, out for the game, injured, concussion. So I don't know when we'll see Lenore Sellers back in action. It might be this weekend, might be 2 weekends, might be 3. It depends on the extent of his concussion. Because if that's the case, expect them to lose a couple more games. because they're going to need to win out. Anyways, next up is Texas A&M, which I think is who I'm on, right? Why was I talking about South Carolina again? I have no idea why I was talking about South Carolina. Gosh, my brain is fried, guys. All right. Texas A&M, we're going to talk about them now. They beat Notre Dame at Notre Dame by 1. It was a close game, but they move up 4 spots for me. They're at number 10. Number 11 is Oklahoma. They move up 2 spots. Did Oklahoma play anyone? They played Temple, 42-3. Dropping only 4 spots for me if you look at the Biggest Losers section. It's all the teams that dropped and how much by. They went down only 4 spots for me. They were 8. I think, yeah, they were 8. I dropped them down to 12. I think that's reasonable. They played a really good game, a really close game against Georgia. Realistically, they could only move down 2, and I'd be completely fine with it. I'd actually be really fine with it. Because I think Tennessee could. Well, you know what? Not 12 fits them. 12 fits them. Alabama moves up 4 spots. A lot of these teams are just shooting up because so many other teams lost that were high up, and a lot of teams dropped out of the top 25. So that's why you see like Alabama jumping 4 spots, Ole Miss jumping 2. Even though Ole Miss did not have a great performance by any means, only getting, let's see, where's Ole Miss? It was Arkansas at Ole Miss. It was 41-35. I saw it being a little close, and it was a little close. But they came out on top. They move up to Michigan, moves up to 15, moving up 3. Michigan absolutely blew out Central Michigan 63-3. It was not even close. And then number 16 goes to Utah. Utah moves up 4 spots. They're looking great. They beat Wyoming 31-6 at Wyoming. And then number 17, dropping 7 spots. I could have dropped them more, but the reason I didn't drop them more is because the game would have been way closer, and I think they would have won if they didn't deal with injuries. I know that sounds like opium. I hate South Carolina. Don't get me wrong. I'm glad they lost. I'm a Clemson fan. But realistically, I think if they had a healthy team and healthy players, especially their QB back and their main wide receiver, they're 2 good players. Probably they're only 2 good players. They probably would have won that game. So I still have them ranked, and they're 11 in the AP poll as of this week, but week 4, this new poll obviously hasn't come out yet. It comes out on Tuesday as I'm recording this Sunday at 2 a.m. So after all the football games have happened. And then number 18 moving up 1 spot. Realistically, I don't want to move them up at all, but it just makes sense to move them up 1. Louisville, I'm still not super keen on them, but I mean, they keep winning. As long as they keep winning the games, they'll stay where they are. I mean, I don't think I'll move them above 16 ever. I don't think they'll ever go that high unless they start blowing out the opponents they're playing. Moving up 3 spots is Auburn. Auburn didn't have the greatest performance. I mean, letting USA, a.k.a. South Alabama, University of South Alabama, score 15 points at home at Auburn. And it was 31-15. I could have seen better from Auburn, but it just, I mean, it's fine where it is. Now we got tons of newly ranked teams. Like I said, the teams that I was expected to put in the top 25 last week, other than Illinois, is the only team I haven't put in yet. is Florida State. Too much of my bitching and whining, saying they should have not been in, no matter what, until they proved it. They've done enough, I guess. I'll give it to them. They've done well. I'm pretty sure they did have a bye week though, because I don't think Florida State played this week. Yeah, no, they definitely did not. I don't think they did. So let me double check. Yeah, they did not play this weekend, but they're moving into the top 25 alone, even from not playing. And that's because they did beat Alabama, and then they blew out East Texas A&M, which is obviously an FCS school. I mean, a lot of people are high on them, and I see why. I mean, they're not a bad team anymore. I gotta put the past in the past and move on, to much of my dismay. But oh well, it be like that. It be like that. So we go next. So they're newly ranked, and they're at 20. Number 21, a newly ranked team, Texas Tech. Texas Tech, looking good. They were already ranked in the AP poll. I now have them ranked. They beat Oregon State 45-14. Texas Tech has been looking great all year. I mean, it makes sense why they're ranked. They're 21 right now, but they'll obviously move up, I think, after this weekend. Baylor, back in the top 25 for me. I really like Baylor. They beat Samford 42-7. I do think Baylor is a sneaky team in the Big 12. Very sneaky team. Yeah, they lost their first game to Auburn, but then they beat SMU in OT. I think it was OT, or was it just normal? Let me double check. Yeah, it was in overtime. They beat SMU. They beat Stanford. They go on. They go and they end up playing Arizona State. Arizona State, I think, is going to be a tough matchup for them and a good little test to see how they do. They play Utah later in the year, at TCU, at Cincinnati, at Oklahoma State, at Arizona. I mean, the Big 12 is really hard to predict who's going to come out on top on that because it literally could go either way. But for now, that's where it is. I think Utah is the best Big 12 team out right now. And then moving up 2 spots, Iowa State. They played Arkansas State at Arkansas State 24-16. I was not impressed with that. Not impressed at all. And they have them at 14 in the AP poll. I mean, we'll see what they have. Like, we'll compare the two once they release the new one. But it does not make sense to me why they are that high. They should not be that high. They're having close game after close game. Arkansas State is not good. And you let them, and it's that close of a game. I don't get it. And number 24, newly ranked Missouri. Missouri's 25 in the AP poll right now, but I have them at 24, which they'll obviously move up, I think, when the AP poll comes out for week 4. They won against Louisiana Raging Cajuns, 52-10. They looked good. I mean, they also were playing a group of 5, so makes sense. And dropping 4 spots. I know, only 4. You're like, why? Why are you not dropping them out of the top 25? Or why are you not dropping them more? Keep in mind, I had them at 21. Newly ranked last week. They were already ranked after a good bit. They were ranked 18th. But after their terrible loss to Miami, dropping them 4 and not out of the top 25 is generous. Generous to say the least. it shows that maybe Florida Gators were not as good as they seemed. I mean, we all know Boise State was obviously, after that game, we knew Boise State was bad. Boise State was nothing without Ashton Jetty. I mean, that's obvious. I mean, now that we see it. But they're 25. And our biggest losers dropping 7 spots. South Carolina dropping 4 spots. There's 2 teams that dropped 4. USF and Tennessee. Then there's 2 teams that dropped 2 spots, Oregon and Texas, and then a team that dropped 1, which was Ohio State. Going through the list one more time, we got Penn State, Ohio State, LSU, Georgia, Miami, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 is Oregon, Texas, Georgia Tech, Illinois, Texas A&M. 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. I have Oklahoma, Tennessee, Alabama, Ole Miss, Michigan. 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. I have Utah, South Carolina, Louisville, Auburn, Florida State. And then 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, I have Texas Tech, Baylor, Iowa State, Missouri, and USF. And I do want to say a team that is most definitely going to be ranked after next week. As long as they can win or some teams lose, expect in Indiana to get back into the rankings, back up into the top 25. You could possibly also see BYU get up in the top 25 as well. There's some teams that obviously have room, and there's teams that I think could be in the top 25. It's just a matter of them playing, making sure they do get in. Anyways, that's going to be the end of this video. I know this one was super long, but I had to go through a lot of stuff today, and a lot of different things. Because a lot happened in football today. A lot of games, a lot of teams lost. A lot of teams looked not great. So there's a lot of ups and downs. But tell me what you guys would change down below in the poll, and this thing will come out Sunday morning or Sunday night. Anyways, thank you all for watching. Greatly appreciate it, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Blue Mist out. Peace.